What's going on, everybody? This is the one coming at you with a Battlefield 2042 Assault Class Loadout Guide. We're going to be going over everything when it comes to diving into what specialists to use within the Assault Class, and even down to what weapons are best in each category. So like what weapon is best for SMGs, Assault Rifles, LMGs. We're going to take care of it all, and we're even going to take care of what are the best gadgets to use and tips and tricks down the road. Let's get right into it. All right, so here we are within the Assault Class menu. So one of my favorite things about the Assault Class is the weapon proficiency that you get with any specialist. So that is Assault Rifles get 3 extra magazines, which is just massive. I mean, Assault Rifles are mostly used just by the Assault Class, obviously. And the fact that we get 3 extra magazines is just super helpful. So that is really awesome. Also within the Assault Class, you get the Assault Gadget, which is the med pin. Now the med pin is absolutely outstanding. Basically, you spawn in with a med pin that allows you to heal yourself over time really quickly. But if you take any damage while that healing over time effect is in place, it will actually stop the healing effect. So the one cool thing that you can do is regenerate these by running over an ammo crate. But the cool thing is you can actually carry up to 2 at a time, but you spawn in with just 1. So hit an ammo crate to get 2. You always have a med pin on you. All right, so now what is the best specialist to use within the Assault Class? So we have Sundance, we have Dozer, we have McKay, and we have Zane. Now Zane is actually a wonderful choice. If you get used to using the XM37OA, this thing is absolutely crazy. And you also get the specialist trait, which allows you to recover health after each kill. So this would be an excellent choice, but if I'm going to be completely honest with you, my top choice would definitely be McKay. Now McKay is such a wonderful specialist to use on the battlefield regularly because you have so many cool gadgets and the perk is just absolutely outstanding. So with a specialist gadget with McKay, you get the grappling hook. Now the grappling hook is just insane. Basically, you can just grapple onto anything above you. You can get to high ground to, blank enemy targets. You can definitely just maneuver yourself around the map so aggressively and get it to many different spots that you wouldn't normally be able to get to with any other specialist. You can grapple onto zip lines. You can grapple yourself onto telephone poles so you can swing around and flank the enemy. Like, you can just use your imagination with the grappling hook, and it is just outstanding. I have a tip at the end of the video that's going to show you some cool things that you can also do with the grappling hook, so stay tuned for that. Another thing that is excellent with McKay is the specialist trait Nimble. Now Nimble is quite good. Basically move faster when aiming and on zip lines. Now zip lines, I mean, everyone loves zip lines, and the fact that you can move faster while aiming on zip lines is just super cool. Taking down people on zip lines is a blast, but also move faster when aiming just in general is massive. So the speed that you can actually pull off with McKay is just wild. The ADS speed is excellent, and you can just always pull out your gun quicker in a situation that is just heavy on the battlefield. So that is just absolutely outstanding, and is one of the reasons why McKay is probably the best choice. All right, so now let's dive into the weapon category. So SMGs, the best SMG to use, in my opinion, with the Assault Class would probably be the SCZ. This is the new SMG that we got within Season 7, and it is a powerhouse, especially whenever you get the right attachments. So let's dive into the customization. All right, so right off the bat here, we have the tactical compensator. So this thing is great once you unlock it. Just increases your weapon accuracy, which overall you're just going to need, especially with those mid to long distance shots using any sort of SMGs. The weapon accuracy is just, you're just going to need it. You're just absolutely going to need it. But this will reduce your recoil control. But once you get used to that, you'll be just fine. And I do have the PB heavy suppressor off to the side, just because you never know whenever you're breaching a building and you want to go silent, or if you're throwing a lot of smoke around. It is always good to have a suppressor handy on the battlefield just so you can stay off the mini map. Up top here, we have the Fusion Hollow. I just like the standard red dot on most of my weapons. Just enhanced target visibility, which is quite good. The iron sights on this thing is really not that enjoyable, and I rarely use any other scope when it comes to the SMGs, just because we're mostly focusing on close quarter to mid-range combat. So I use the Fusion Hollow. All right, down below here we have the high power drum magazine. This thing is great, increases your ammo capacity at 36, and also the effective range of your bullets. You'll be able to make those longer distance shots absolutely great, especially if you're playing that mid to long distance aggressive assault player. You could definitely use the standard issue drum, which actually your magazine size will increase to 50, which is massive because the more bullets the better. But I just like the range that I can get with the high power drum. And then down below here, we have the STNR laser sight. Increases your hipfire accuracy while moving. You're going to be moving constantly as an assault class, especially in close quarters. Like, you're just going to be moving all the time. So being able to shoot accurately, even with just using the hipfire, not ADSing, this is going to make that a lot easier and a lot more accurate for you, and increases the recoil control, which is great because it kind of, evens out whenever you're using the tactical compensator. So using these two together is just so powerful. It is absolutely absolutely insane. This is the loadout that I recommend. Then when it comes to the assault weapon of choice, now this is where it comes down to some of my favorite weapons here. I love the assault class weapons, but honestly, my choice here would be the AM40. The AM40 is a classic Battlefield 2042 weapon. This thing is such a beast. You can just really pull off so much damage in a mid to long distance range, and the accuracy of these bullets and the amount that you have once you unlock the right attachments for them, it is just so brutal on the battlefield and with an amazing fire rate. So let's dive into the customization. All right, so right up here we have the Warhawk compensator. This thing is amazing. Basically increases your recoil control and also your muzzle flash visibility reduction is just great for those long distance shots. So I highly recommend this. The AM40 has some pretty intense recoil on it, especially when you're making, you know, those mid-range shots. So putting this on just really helps you out to stay a little bit more accurate. Up top here we have the Fusion Hollow. Like I said before, I normally just keep to my red dot scopes. I just like the visibility of it. I do have, you know, other options up here, but the K8 Hollow is just not really my jam, you know what I'm saying? But the Fusion Hollow is where it's at, so use the Fusion Hollow. And then down below here we have the standard issue drum. This is where things get a little bit interesting because your magazine size is increased to 40, which is double than what you would normally get when you first use this weapon. So that is huge. It also increases the recoil control and the fire rate. Your fire rate gets increased to 850, which is massive, especially for an assault rifle. So you can really just pull out a ton of bullets and just do so much damage. So I highly recommend using the standard issue drum. And then down below here we have the MGL laser sight. This thing is great. Basically increases your hip fire accuracy while moving and your recoil control, and that's just what you need in the situations like this, especially with this loadout, because the amount of bullets and the amount of firepower plus the speed that you're going to be using is just great because you're always going to be moving. And then going over to the LMG category here, now this is where things can get pretty wild, and you honestly kind of change up your gameplay a little bit with this. So my weapon of choice is the Advances. Now this weapon is so insane, and you're actually going to be quite silent with 200 rounds of ammunition. It is incredible. So let's dive into the customizations. All right, so now for barrel of choice actually is going to be the 6KU suppressor. Now, being a suppressed LMG user is just so insane, especially when you're in those close quarter combat building situations with McKay. You can just do so much crazy amount of firepower and suppression, and it is nuts. And being silent, meaning that you can stay off the minimap, is just huge. Definitely equip this and use it. I'm telling you, it is absolutely insane. This weapon is already so powerful, it's not going to do too harm to your damage. So definitely get a silencer on this. If you want to unequip the silencer, definitely get the tactical compensator, increases your weapon accuracy, but you will be loud and proud, but you'll be loud. So equip this if necessary, but staying silent is just a dream. Up top here we have, oh look, the Fusion Hollow, like I said, is super good to use for this. But if you want to use the thermal, you definitely can, because you can just overwhelm somebody with bullets so far away. It is pretty addicting, to tell you the truth, but I'm just a classic Fusion Hollow guy, so use the Fusion Hollow to get those accurate shots. Down below, now you can use the standard issue extended magazine. This allows you to have 200 rounds, which is insane, and with your fire rate at 750, you can really just punch these bullets out over and over and over again. And the reload speed honestly isn't too bad. Later on in the video, I'll show you guys a quick reload trick with most weapons, but definitely with any LMG. So stick around for that. And then down below here, we have the STNR laser sight. This thing is a beast. I use it on most of my weapons, as you can clearly tell. But again, increases hip fire accuracy while moving and recoil control. You're just going to want that when you ever use this weapon, trust me. All right, so now over here for the marksmanship rifles. Now I gotta tell you, marksmanship rifles, not really my type of gameplay when it comes to any sort of battlefield game, but I found a way to convert the BSVM to be somewhat of an SMG, and it is absolutely insane. So let me show you how. Let's dive into the customizations. All right, then up here we have the shortened suppressor. Now the shortened suppressor is absolutely outstanding. Basically, presses the weapon, which is what you're gonna need because you're gonna fly through your ammo because of the high fire rate of this weapon. The weapon fire rate is at 860, so you're gonna be constantly reloading, going through that 30-round magazine, which we'll talk about here soon. Up top here, we have the K8 Hollow. Basically, it's like the only red dot experience that you can truly have with this weapon. Highly recommend it. It's great. The other scopes with this build just kind of are a little bit too far range. Best bet that you can get outside of the iron sights, which I'm just not a huge fan of. So the K8 Hollow is the one that you want. Now down below here, we want the subsonic close combat magazine. This will increase your magazine size to 30, basically increase your fire rate. So you are just a full out SMG right now, which is insane. And it also improves suppressor mini-map stealth, which is also good too. So you're just unseen using this loadout, which is huge. It is absolutely huge. Use this, and then on the side here I have the close combat as well, which is going to increase your recoil control, your reload speed, and your rate of fire just by a pinch. But the subsonic close combat magazine is the one that I recommend for you. All right, so then down below here we have the BCG light grip. So this will increase your ADS accuracy. I highly recommend pretty much only ADSing using this weapon. The hip fire is not the greatest because you fly through your ammo and the spread is pretty gross, but whenever you're ADSing, you're pretty accurate. So focus on ADSing using this weapon build. All right, so now we're going to skip over to the tactical weapons here. Now, the 12M auto is just such an overpowered weapon. Automatic shotgun will just destroy anything in its pathway. Let me explain. All right, so right off the bat, we have the Type 4 heavy suppressor. I like using the suppressor on this. You stay off the mini map and you're going to be in close quarters, normally running through smoke, which we will talk about smoke grenades later on in the video. Being suppressed just really can help out with the heavy flanks that you'll do with this weapon. It being an automatic shotgun, you can just really do a heavy amount of spread damage. So being off that mini map and, you know, just not making that much noise is just super important. So I highly recommend using the silencer on this weapon. Up top here, we have the lovely Fusion Hollow. You're honestly not going to ever ADS. You don't even have to put the Fusion Hollow on if you want to. You never ADS with this weapon. You're only going to be using hipfire because there's just no need for it. So I just put this on because I like how it looks, but there's really no need to put anything on the sights. Now down below here, we have the 1 buckshot shell rum. This is excellent. Increases your ammo capacity to 20, so you're going to have a ton of rounds, and this just puts your rate of fire at 300, so you can really just punch out a ton of different rounds onto the battlefield and just cause a ton of damage. So highly recommend using this to increase that ammo capacity. Down below here we have the MGL laser sight. Increases hipfire accuracy while moving and recoil control. Now that's perfect because you're never going to be ADSing, so increases your hipfire while moving is just massive. You can really get those long distance shots with the shotgun. It's absolutely outstanding. So I highly recommend this for the weapon category. All right, so then moving over to pistols. Now, what is the best pistol to use with this? Now, honestly, there are a good amount of secondaries, and you can tell that I don't really use that many because I don't even have some of them unlocked. But the best pistol for you is going to be the G56. This pistol is just insane. It's the very first pistol that you get in the game, so you have it right off the bat. And the one trick that is excellent with this thing is that it's burst. Let's dive right into the customizations. All right, so for this loadout here, you're going to want to use this suppressor. Now, I've always enjoyed having my secondary suppressed. A lot of different Battlefield players use this casual compensator, increases weapon accuracy, but the weapon is already so accurate, and just being off the minimap in general just helps you out. So use this absolutely. Up top here, we have the Fusion Hollow. Gives you a nice red dot scope. ADSing with this weapon is super important. Having a nice scope like the Fusion Hollow, use it. It is just absolutely outstanding. The iron sights on this weapon, not that great. All right, so down here we have the close combat drum. So this thing is absolutely outstanding. Increases recoil control, rate of fire, and ammo capacity, which is massive. So you have a ton of ammo within your secondary, and the rate of fire is increased to 450, which is excellent. So I highly recommend using this drum. And then down below here we have the LS1 laser sight. Increases hip fire accuracy. The hip fire accuracy with this weapon is just massive. So if you need to take down multiple targets right in front of you, you're definitely going to be able to do it because this thing also has burst. So whenever you spawn into any round, it is really important to take out your secondary immediately, switch it to the burst mode. And it's super important, so anytime you use the pistol throughout the entire match, it will be on burst immediately, which is excellent. But at any time you begin a fresh game of Battlefield, you have to switch to your secondary and put it on burst. What is the gadget of choice here with the assault class? Before I would say the C5, but we recently got that nerfed. Sadly, we can only hold up to 2 instead of 3. So as of right now, I would probably say the armor plates. The armor plates are absolutely outstanding, especially for the assault class, since you'll be in those close quarter combat situations regularly. So having that extra boost of armor is just so nice. So if you want to get this, that would be absolutely outstanding. If you restock them in your inventory, just look for an ammo crate on the ground. You'll be able to make that happen. Whenever you spawn into a game, just make sure you equip your armor and you'll be ready to go. And then for your throwable, so what is the best throwable to use? Now, honestly, you can use any of these throwables. This is just personal preference. Now, I like flanking. I'm a huge flanker, so using smoke grenades, absolutely outstanding. I mean, you can just throw a smoke grenade and breach an entire building. No one will know where you are at all, especially if your weapon is silenced. So smoke is just super, super excellent, especially if you're even trying to revive players. Using smoke plus your grappling hook, those higher distant buildings, and make a breach point, like, it is absolutely outstanding. The frag grenade is good too, but the smoke grenades are just so overpowered when it comes to visibility. You can really just set yourself up if you know your surroundings quite well. So use a smoke grenade to your advantage. I promise you it will work out. All right, guys, so here is a few extra tips within the Battlefield 2042 Assault Class guide here. So check this out. So using any weapon, mostly the LMGs, you can actually progress through your reload speed faster than the animation. So check this out. I'm going to fire off a few bullets. Now pay attention to the animation and then also the number of bullets I have in my magazine. So check this out. I'm going to reload. Watch when it says 200. Right now, 200. And also my animation is still activated. So you can cancel that animation by switching to your secondary and also switching back to your primary weapon really quickly. So I'm going to shoot a few bullets here. Okay, shoot a few. I'm going to reload. I'm going to switch to my secondary right when it hits 200. Boom, switch, and then go back to my primary. And then it immediately sets me back up and it cancels the animation. So this helps you tremendously if you're in a tight position trying to reload as quickly as possible. And you can do this with any weapon in the game, but it's mostly effective towards the LMG weapons. So practice it, check it out, it'll save your life. All right, so another fun thing that you can do is actually slide right after you use your grappling hook. Now, it's really, really fast movement, so you have to be careful here, but I'm going to slide here, jump off, and then boom. See that? It is absolutely outstanding, and using that on the battlefield consistently can really, really project your mobility around your enemies and around your target anywhere you are. So practice that, and it really will save your life and cause just kind of like, you know, some stress to people on the battlefield here. So highly recommend trying to figure out how to slide after you use your grappling hook. I'm telling you, it will save your life. Oh, let's kill this guy. And you're dead. You're gone. All right, friends, that about wraps up the video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys made it through the entire video, you are an absolute legend. Hit that like button. Helps the algorithm of the video and pushes it to more people. And if you're new and if you want to see more Battlefield content and more loadout guides, hit the subscribe button. I also stream quite a bit. Schedule's down below in the description. So let's hang out, let's get on the battlefield together and play some more games. The next loadout guide video will be focusing on the engineer class. I got some crazy clips coming up, so don't miss that. So we'll just make this happen together, friends. All right, guys, this is Thewunk signing out. I'll see you guys soon.